6 aspects of health. We do episodes every week on your physical health, mental health, intellectual health, social health, spiritual health, and today's episode, we're going to help you improve your financial health. Our topic today is credit cards, which are the story of a lot of people's financial ruin, but we've got 3 awesome guests with some tips on how to use credit cards to improve your financial health. If you've never seen Millionaires Are Made, this show is built on the fundamental belief that every person you meet knows something you don't, and there's something to be learned from every person in this big, beautiful world. In the spirit of authenticity, I don't even meet our guests or talk about their tips or their advice before the show at all. So everything you're about to hear comes from them, their life story, and their experience. And I can't wait to learn from them just as much as you. Audience, please feel free to ask questions. We'll put them on air live and put them in the hot seat. We love hearing from you. Comments, questions are very, very welcome. We will get them into the show, so feel free to participate there. I want to give a big shout out to some of our followers. We love having you guys. Thank you so much. On Facebook, Ann McNamara, thank you so much. Instagram, Intention Boutique, thanks for following and your support. Love you guys so much. TikTok, Hippie High, and on YouTube, Joe Graham Real. Thank you guys so much. Keep following us for more. We're going to keep putting out awesome tips for awesome episodes forever. Guests, if you need guests and you have a podcast, we're all available here. Please hit us up. We love sharing knowledge and we love helping the entire humanity grow one little bit at a time. And if you're going through life right now and you're struggling with a little something, feel free to shoot us your topic. If you're working on your financial health or your social health and you're having issues, give us a topic. We will go find 3 guests and we'll give you a little bit of advice to help you get through that time. And as much as we love giving out as much info as we can, we're always pressed for time. But if you do want one-on-one sessions, I do offer free growth sessions as well. So feel free to sign up for those. Link being dropped right now. And without further ado, we are going to introduce our sponsors for this episode. We've got some awesome ones. Our first sponsor here is Silver Fox Fitness. Bob has dedicated over 30 years to teaching fitness at their local YMCA. Now he's a blogger and shares his knowledge on staying fit and mobile for a long, happy life. If you're a senior, contact Bob for expert guidance. Check that link. Please support our sponsors. We love having them, and they help the show keep going. We've also got Income Pays the Bills, especially in retirement. Let Steve Selinga, the income independent coach and author of Retirement Money Secrets, teach you how to more than double the income you are now receiving for your investments. That guy is a brilliant mastermind on how to have legitimately true passive income using investments in stocks and bonds. He's awesome. Go check him out. We've got Krista Melanson, the relationship chef. Krista loves helping couples connect through the love language of food, which is everyone's love language. Who doesn't love food? Come on now. She's a cordon bleu trained chef and a relationship coach and a true believer that love makes the world go round. And last but not least is our favorite sponsor, the True Leaders. It's a bi-monthly magazine offering practical guidance, inspiring stories, and in-depth interviews for aspiring and current leaders. If you're struggling with leadership or you want to meet more leaders, check them out. It's free online, and you can also buy it in print on Amazon if you're old school like me and like to read it. Please check out our sponsors. Go say hi. If you want a free sponsorship, we're dropping the link right now. We do offer them out every once in a while, and this show is one of them. And that brings us to our first guest, Paul, who's an expert in financial health and hopefully going to teach us a little something about credit cards. Hey, Paul, tell us, who are you?
What's up, man? My name is Paul Childers. I own Blue Sky Biz Solutions. I am first and foremost a husband for 15 years, officially as of June 20th this year. We've got 2 kids.
Ooh, happy anniversary.
Yeah, man. It's been good. But we've got 2 kids, 11 and 7. And I enjoy, working with business owners and helping them find better ways to access loans that, protect their personal credit and are healthy for them.
Business loans, protecting personal credit. All right. Well, if I wanted to improve my financial health specifically with credit cards, what piece of advice would you give me?
Yeah, the very first piece I always give business owners is understand what credit cards to use for your business specifically, because some of them will report to the personal credit bureaus and some of them do not. If you use the wrong ones, you end up creating an issue with your debt to income and utilizations.
Okay. And you have a list of all the ones that you should be using, I assume?
I've got a list of my favorites.
What's your number one favorite business credit card?
The easiest
Does not report
one,
to personal income.
I will say this, that my personal favorite is my Amex Delta Sky Miles card. All right. Like that's preferential to me because I travel a little bit and we like the points. The easiest one and the most beginner friendly one for businesses to get access to is going to be your Chase Business Inc. cards.
Oh, okay. I think everyone that has a business gets mail from them at least once a month.
Yep. There's a reason for that.
But what you're saying is that those don't report to your personal credit, correct?
Unless you're derogatory and miss a payment on them. They still have personal guarantees, but the activity will not show up on your personal credit history unless you miss a payment by a lot or you're delinquent on stuff. So for the majority of it, it's a very healthy card for a business owner to use.
Okay, cool. All right. Is there any that you need to definitely stay away from?
Stay away from any of them that kind of disguise themselves as business cards, but really aren't. There are a couple Bank of America ones that look like they are, but they're actual personal cards. You really have to, the biggest thing I tell people is read the details of the cards. Capital One is kind of one that's iffy. Their Spark card can report to the personal one, but it also has it set up so that it doesn't always report to the personal. So you got to really ask a lot of questions.
So one card may report, may not report?
Yeah, so like they've got a blue and a green card, but so far what I've found is that I've met people that have a blue card that reports personal, but I've also met people with a green card that reports to personal. My green card reports to personal, so I don't use it anymore. So I don't know. I still haven't figured out exactly what you have to do with that. All I can say is, like, if you're going to go with Capital One, contact somebody within Capital One. I've got a contact myself that works directly with Capital One to help people get set up properly. Because there are good benefits with it. The 2% cash back and everything is a great thing, but you got to make sure it's not reporting onto your personal stuff. So
you got a happy anniversary from the audience. All right. Well, Paul, tell us a little bit about your background. Where on your life journey did you learn this piece of advice?
I mean, I've just kind of picked this up along the way as I've been working with, businesses myself over the last year and a half. I've been using credit cards myself for traveling for about 5 years. My personal card is a Capital One Quicksilver card, but then I also, for my business, use that Amex Delta Sky Miles card. And so it just kind of comes from experience of using them, listening to other people that have used them, but most importantly, like working with business owners and helping them get out of bad credit card debt is where I've really learned the most about credit cards and how they can become dangerous and get you into kind of a violent spiral if you don't know how to use them right.
That's very true. Very true. Yeah. I mean, credit card debt is probably the number one source of debt in America. I don't know if that's a stat. I just made it up.
It could be. Very well could be.
Could be. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much, Paul. We're going to move on to our next guest. Her name is Alex. Alex, can you tell us, who are you?
Yes. First off, thank you so much for having me on. I am super excited to be here. And a little bit about me. My name's Alexandra, and I'm your ally in mastering resources for conquering the credit game. I came from a subprime mortgage background and a banking background. I've got 2 kiddos that I am raising independently, and just super passionate about making sure that people don't have to go through the same challenges, loopholes, and fall on their face the way that I've had to over the last 20 years.
Challenges, loopholes, and fall on your face. Yeah, I mean, credit and credit cards are a very interesting tool. All right, well, let's start with this. If I wanted to improve my financial health with credit cards, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
I would say start with the end in mind. Be super crystal clear about what your goals are and what you're wanting to accomplish. I think oftentimes we get so bombarded in today's day and age with input and, okay, do this and do this and do that. And we lose sight of why we're doing it.
So what are common end goals for when people get credit cards?
raising their credit score enough to get a mortgage.
Okay.
Getting to a certain score or eligibility for a vehicle, or
okay. So essentially, a lot of people use credit cards to build their credit score. Does that sound right?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So essentially, you're saying a lot of people get credit cards, and the best use is to build your credit score.
Absolutely.
And so what would you suggest to do with your credit card? I mean, obviously, everyone in an ideal world wants to pay off the full balance every month. Do you suggest using cash most of the time and just putting minimal on the credit card to help boost the credit score?
I think that a lot of people have not been educated on how to pay bills in a timely manner. So I've got 2 hacks that I absolutely love to share. One of those
That's what we want to hear.
Yay. One of those being statement cycle close date. We don't talk about this nearly enough. It's not just a matter of not needing to have debt, not needing to actually put ourselves in a bad financial position. It's about knowing when to pay off the card to strategically get the best value out of it for points and for our score. So, statement cycle close date. We can find this on the actual PDF statement that we have or the paper mail statement that we receive. And if we pay our card as low as we can afford to, ideally below 10%, on the business day before that date, it'll always reflect that lowest balance we can have.
Okay, good. That's a smart little tip. Statement balance day, end date. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, tell us a little bit about you. Where on your life journey did you learn this information?
So it started in the subprime world. Yes, I'm a reformed subprime lender. I worked for all those companies that did all the things. This is part of my recovery and give back to the community program. That being said, like, I was young and dumb. I was making ridiculous, stupid money, didn't know what to do with it. And I fell into those same pit holes that most of my clients were in. Then when I was in banking, I couldn't help but see and recognize how many people were coming in and they're like, okay, I just went through this life event. I lost a job. I changed a job. I got married. I got divorced. I had a kid. I had a major medical. Like, oh my gosh, now what? And a lot of times the common denominator was the credit cards did it. Or my parents went through this and the credit cards did it. They told me never, ever have one. And I think, like, very similar to what Paul was saying, is that trial and error. What do we do and how do we mess up? And I hope that other people don't have to mess up as badly or as painfully, at least, as I did.
Yeah, it's weird how little education you have about credit cards until you're already fucked.
Absolutely. It's something I've really brought home with my kiddos is I'm like, look, we're going to look at every statement. You guys have full access to all my stuff. There is never going to be a doubt in my mind that you know exactly what choices you're making.
Yeah, I live on a little kind of remote island, so now we all use cash, and it's actually really refreshing. I love not having credit cards anymore. I don't even know the last time I used one, but I mean, we take them, but it's definitely a lot more cash. Awesome. All right, Alex. Well, we're going to move on to our next guest. We'll bring you out for a round robin at the end there. Oh, Ty. Tell us who you are.
Hey, what's going on, man? So I am Ty Chavez, and I am a mortgage representative, mortgage loan officer here out of Arizona. Been married 21 years, have 4 kids. Well, my oldest is already 20. But
nice. All right.
I've been in the financial industry for pretty much all of my career since I could legally start working at age 16, and I'm 42 now. But yeah, in the last 14 years, I've been in the mortgage industry. And one of the biggest, the key advice that I would give, because I get this constantly with my clients, right? Trying to qualify them for a mortgage.
Wait. Don't give
Oh,
the
wait,
advice.
we're not going yet. this is about me, right?
Okay. Yeah. You ready
Am I
for the next question?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Ty, if I wanted to improve my financial health with credit cards, what is one piece of advice that you would give me?
All right. So this is what I tell all of my clients that are coming in to get qualified for a mortgage is make your payments on time. I mean, payment history is probably the biggest thing that affects your reputation, your credit history. But if you don't have any credit cards, what I tell my clients in building that up is open up a credit card. There's no need to have 5, 10 different credit cards or retail credit cards for stores. But the most important thing is to have at least one major credit card. And like Alex was saying, is utilize it only to about a 10% of your limit. Don't overutilize your credit card. But really building your reputation is what it's going to affect you in the long run with any other credit that you take. Am I frozen or does it sound weird? On my screen, it looks kind of weird how I'm talking.
You
No?
look sexy. You sound sexy.
All right. But yeah, it's just really your payment history is going to tell your reputation, and that's going to affect the major purchases in your life, which is a home, which is a car. So the better you have your history made with your credit cards, the better you are going to be with when it comes to taking out a mortgage or a second mortgage or a car payment.
Awesome. All right, Ty, where on your life journey did you learn all this information?
Like I said, I've been in mortgage for 14 years and in banking altogether, financial industry for about 25 years. So basically throughout all my career, I've dealt with clients that are needing to build credit, that are needing to repair their credit, needing to take out a mortgage, and it's in every aspect of my life, I've been learning it. And another quick tip on that.
Two tips? Two for one, go for it.
Well, since I have 4 kids, start your kids' credit history early on by adding them to one of your credit cards. So I've added my 2 oldest since they were 16 on one of my credit cards with that have the longest history. So what that does, as soon as they turn 18 and can open up their own credit card, they already have a credit history established because of the history that I've kind of transferred to them.
So about 3 years ago, they passed, I don't know if it's a law or a change in policy on authorized users, though, and it only affects about 10% what it used to. Have you found any issue with your kids?
No, well, I mean, I haven't seen it because they as soon as they turned 18, they're getting offers already from credit cards, which is a plus. And I mean, just noticing on Credit Karma, like for my oldest, right away he started building up his score.
So at least, yeah, it'll help your history and help other things. But yeah, I know that they try to cut back on that a little bit. I used to do a lot in the AU area. All right, well, Ty.
And the whole idea is not to leave it. The whole idea is to just start up your score and then take out your own card.
Yes. So, yeah, it's a temporary. You do 6 months, build your score, then you get a really nice credit card, and you make sure you don't fuck that one up.
Yep, exactly.
All right, well, let's bring everyone out and start our round robin session. Paul, can you super quickly refresh what your tip was?
Yeah, my biggest tip is understanding what credit card to use if you're a business owner. Don't use a personal credit card for your business expenses because it will negatively affect your credit score and your ability to attain personal loans.
Alex, what are your thoughts on that tip?
I think that's fantastic. I think that oftentimes business owners absolutely annihilate themselves by putting either business debt on their personal cards as startup expenses because they just lack the knowledge to even go get business credit, or they're going down a rabbit hole because the internet told them to.
I like it. Ty, what are your thoughts?
My biggest tip was just as simple as make your payments on time. Don't overextend yourself and make your payments on time.
What are your thoughts on Paul's tip?
I think Paul, I'm sorry, I missed that part.
Don't use your personal credit card for your business.
Oh yeah, for sure. I got my own business and my own business credit card, and it was funny because you were saying about the Chase Inc. one, and that's exactly the one I have. But yeah, exactly. Keep don't commingle your stuff, your personal and business expenses.
All right, we got a question from the audience. Are credit cards really worth it? Oh, who wants to take that one?
I can.
Go for it.
Credit cards make up 30% of your entire score. So if you have any type of financing goals whatsoever, having at least some level of credit card is absolutely crucial. And I think one of the biggest misnomers in our society is that 30% is linear, and it's not. Really, here's an analogy I love to use is that credit's like gymnastics or like diving. You can't get a perfect 10 if your degree of difficulty is a 7. And 35% of your score that's payment history is going to be all about your execution. So only 35% of your score is execution. The other 65% is degree of difficulty. And the biggest chunk of that is revolving utilization. So if you don't have a revolving account whatsoever, that's 30%. That's that huge chunk that you don't even have access to. Mathematically, you'll never get above a 600, which takes you out of the running out of almost everything on the board, especially all the good freebies.
Yep.
All the good freebies.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree too. I mean, from a business perspective, I think it's worth it too, as long as you understand that you got to pay it back.
Wait. You do?
You know,
so yeah, I mean, I think actually credit cards and credit card fees are starting to be kind of the bane of small business.
I think
How
so
do you
too.
guys feel about losing 3.5% of every transaction as a small business owner?
It sucks.
But now every business is implementing a fee into it just to compensate for the charge that they're getting charged.
So then how do you feel as a consumer paying an extra like 3.5-4% just to use credit cards?
I mean, kind of. I mean, usually your purchases aren't huge anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, we get taxed like crazy anyway for a lot of things.
I mean, sales tax is 8.5% to 9% in most areas, so we're 150% increasing that just to swipe a credit card.
Yeah,
right.
I guess I look at it a little differently than you gentlemen do. I look at it as, wait a sec, I'm paying insurance on my home. I pay insurance on my car. I pay insurance for my business. I pay insurance for everything. Why wouldn't I spend that 3 or 4% to have insurance, knowing that my purchase is protected, that I might have extended warranty, that I might have coverage if whatever happens? Like, I look at it as an insurance policy.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, you can still return items with cash.
But you can't charge them back if they end up being bunk.
Right, exactly. No, I agree totally on that. So if you know how to manage them well, I mean, but the majority of people, that's why we have so much credit card debt. They just don't know how to manage it. But once you learn how to manage credit card debt and how to use them and all that, I mean, the amount of points that you can get or accrue through credit cards is crazy, and you can freaking travel the world. You can get freebies here and there. Just
in the end, you're paying for those, though. I mean, using the credit card, paying that 3.5% is just you paying for it, and then giving you like 0.1% back, saying these are your perks and your points, and making you feel happy about spending way more than you should. So, I mean, nowadays most places give a cash discount of like 3.5%. How do you guys feel about Visa, MasterCard raising their fees last year?
Of course they did.
As a business owner, it's a cost of doing business. My CPA takes care of that, and it is what it is.
Here's my perspective on it is it's a slippery slope when you start talking about protection, right? Because I have a lot of business owners that work with clients that pay with credit cards that get a lot of disputes back on stuff for services that they legitimately provided, have shown proof that it was provided, and still lose those disputes to the credit card company and get these massive chargebacks. Yes, you can write it off as a loss of business expense right off at the end of the year, but that's still money that's getting pulled out of their AR cycle because of, I think, some of the way too much leniency that credit card companies give consumers on these chargeback periods. So there's two sides to that coin when you look at this. One of those is, yeah, as a consumer, it's great because you can obviously get the money back. The other side is, as a business, how are you hedging and protecting yourself from the fact that some people can just charge you back with really no legitimate reason for it? And it's very difficult to fight the credit card companies when you do that because they will favor consumers. MasterCard is notorious for favoring consumers on that side of things, which is why
especially with service-based businesses. I mean, you say, "Oh, I did all this," and they're like, "Well, it wasn't good enough, this or that," and then you get a $1,000 charge back. Not only did you waste your time, not only did you provide the service, now you're wasting time fighting for it, getting evidence. And I mean, there's a lot of small businesses that don't even accept credit cards anymore nowadays, especially after the hike break for MasterCard and Visa. And I mean, even with crypto, I mean, you guys probably can see the trend even better than I can, but there's a lot of people pulling back on credit cards. Almost every merchant processor out there now does cash discounts and all sorts of other things. And then you have the whole conspiracy anti-government people that want to stick to cash.
I don't want a cashless society for a good reason.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, we got another question. We're moving. So we got too many questions. Shit. What are the let's put this up here real quick. What are the myths about credit card usage?
There's a lot.
The biggest one, you guys, I mean, come on, we all know this. It's the 30% rule, which it's not 30%, it's 10.
Oh, right. Yeah. It seems.
I think that's the biggest.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
I think isn't 30% of your credit score based off of your credit utilization?
Yes, but people mix up that 30% and think that it should be 30% utilization.
Right.
Is the magic number. The magic number is 9.999% or below.
Right. Exactly.
Also, I think people assume that their score is going to get docked a lot more than it usually does if your utilization is higher and you're good on paying your bills. Where people get into a lot of problems is if their utilization is a little bit higher than normal and then they get behind on payments, that's where it really snowballs, because you can have higher utilization and make payments on it and still maintain, around a 700 and up credit score just fine. It's just managing those payments is huge, and making sure you don't get, every credit card company is a little different, but usually they give you a 5 to 10 day grace period. Some of them don't. Business cards do not. If you miss it by a day, you're getting docked. So on your business credit score, if you miss it over that, you have usually 30 to 45 days before it will start to report derogatory and then hit your personal credit. And then that can be a very big surprise for business owners. So.
Shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, so Alex, you're in credit repair, correct?
I do credit strategy. Sometimes that does involve a little bit of cleanup, and yes, I don't like to say that I do repair.
Are any of you involved in trying to keep up with all the changes in credit algorithms from Experian and TransUnion, etc.?
Yeah, big time. I actually attend MBA every year and get to speak to people on both the underwriting side from the mortgage world standpoint, as well as getting to speak to representatives at those companies.
It's almost as difficult as the Facebook algorithm. Jesus Christ. All right. We got another question here. What should our goal be when considering getting a credit card?
I think that's so personal, you guys. Like, what do you want in your life? Do you even want a credit card? If you're perfectly happy living with mom and dad or living on the beach and you have an abundance of wealth and income and you've hit it and you're sitting there already as that millionaire, then you know what? This is a passive and interesting but unnecessary conversation for you. Let's get real. On the flip side, if you have specific lending, banking, financing goals, then we just need to be clear about whatever those are in the coming 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years. Just like you guys were talking about with how do we build our kids' credit and put them in a position that we can empower our kids instead of enabling them? How do we help business owners and make sure that their business stays separate? What's the statistic? 30% of all businesses fail in the first 2 years. How horrible would it be to have, yeah, exactly.
80%.
Okay, 80% fail in the first 3 years. Do you want that on your personal credit? Like, unfortunately, even if we don't want to buy into the credit card game, there's still going to be enough pieces of our world that are going to be dependent on credit, whether it's insurance or gym membership or utilities. Somewhere, somehow, it's going to be there.
Yeah. And like I was saying, I mean, your credit card, we build reputation by our actions, right? Like on a personal level, but credit card is the way we build our reputation across all the financial world, basically. And as long as I mean, kind of if your main goal is for that, is to build that reputation, then utilize it not to overextend yourself. Just utilize it just for what I tell my clients all the time is you're utilizing it strategically for the purpose of only building your reputation, not because I need to buy some extra whatever for the house or this and that. And if you don't have it, don't spend it.
Yeah.
They're essentially mini loans. I mean, every month they loan you out your credit, and as long as you pay it off, you get it back again the next month.
Yep.
So if you don't know how to manage a loan, then I wouldn't work on a credit card either. But
exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting. All right, guys. Well, we are going to have to wrap this up. So it's the last little bit. It's my favorite part of the episode. This one might be a little challenging. We have to come up with a daily challenge. It takes less than 5 minutes a day, costs $0, and is available to anyone in the world from Kathmandu to Costa Rica, who just tied Brazil. So let's think of something there. That's going to be a little difficult because credit cards, we don't actually know much about credit cards in other countries, but let's just assume anywhere credit cards are available. What can we do for 5 minutes a day to help improve our financial health with credit cards?
I think just review your statements, right? So often we put stuff on there and we forget about it. Just the other day, I went and canceled about $450 worth of reoccurring expenses that I was making on stuff that I don't even use anymore. And just was a reminder to me that I did not review my statements as frequently as I should have. It had been about 6 months. So take a look at those, make sure that's part of your, weekly budgeting process and that there's not any unexpected expenses getting racked up on them.
Right.
Can I piggyback on you, Paul?
Go ahead.
I think at the same time as you're reviewing those statements, also review the benefits and rewards and the value for each card and make sure that you're strategically using the correct card for the correct purchase. Like one of my cards right now is doing across the board 10% back for any restaurant use. Another one is doing 5% on all gas.
What card is doing that? 10%?
Yeah, 10%. It's one of my business ones that's with a small local regional bank.
That's a wild one. 10%.
It's awesome. I know. So I'm like, okay, cool. Kids, guess what? You guys want to go out to dinner tonight? Let's go. And then, I'm a Russian Jewish mom. So I'm stacking that with the coupon that I have, then with the Rakuten, then with the rewards. We got it.
So let's, I'm thinking more about people that may not have credit cards. What if we spent 5 minutes every day comparing two credit cards?
Comparing two credit cards?
Yeah.
Do we know what we're comparing for, though? And do we know if we're eligible? I think that if we look at that on a global level, that might be level 400 when we should be starting at level 1.
Well, what would level 1 then? If you don't have a credit card, checking your statement's not going to help. But learning and educating about credit, maybe learning about how credit works.
What about developing a bank relationship and seeing if your bank offers a credit card? Who you already know, like, and trust.
Okay. That's going to be 1 day. How do we make it a 7-day challenge?
So I think if people don't have access to credit cards, I think that still applies to just to even your bank account, right? Just the same practices. Make sure there's not extra stuff that's racking up on there to keep a good cash balance and cash flow. Because that's the stuff that's going to help you get access to credit cards if they are available in your area as well.
Okay.
Especially if it's through a local bank. So some local banks will offer credit cards directly, but you won't get access to them if your bank statements and your bank account isn't healthy. For instance, if with Ramp, if you have $50,000 steadily in your bank account as a business, you can get access to a 0% corporate card that has personal guarantees on it. If that balance is very inconsistent and dips a ton, you don't get access to that card. So that would be pretty applicable, I think, to anybody that's got a bank account. Is just making sure that you have a healthy bank account and balance in there, that it's not dipping to zero or non-sufficient funds, doesn't have wild like up and downs on the expenses. You have consistency, because that will give you access to things that you didn't have access to before, whether that's personal or business.
Okay, let me think. Nowadays, credit reports get updated daily. Is that correct?
They always have. It's just a matter of when things report. It's not that the report itself is updating daily. It's that the data being provided is updating.
Mm-hmm.
Someone mentioned Credit Karma, and I'm pretty sure they do daily updates nowadays, correct?
All of them do. And one of the things that we have to remember is, why are they doing it? Why are they sending us these alerts? It's to get us to log in and to buy their products. One of the ones that I preferred that does a little bit less spammy salesy is myfico.com.
Okay. Yeah, we have a viewer that said they just want to learn more about credit cards. So what is something we can spend 5 minutes learning about credit cards every day?
How about how interest is compounded and how we can best play that game?
So like search interest every day. I think we should learn more about each credit card. I don't know, Alex. You kind of shot that one down pretty smartly there.
What about historic uses and successes as well as failures with credit cards?
Go research everyone that went broke.
I mean,
who went broke in the last year with credit card debt?
It's international. It's non-discriminatory. I don't know.
I mean, one way that for, like, let's say, for example, people that don't have any credit can't even open up a regular credit card, or people that are trying to repair their credit.
Okay.
One thing I always recommend them getting is a secured credit card.
Okay. Yeah.
A secured credit card is where you put your own money down, your own collateral. So let's just say somebody wants to learn without actually taking credit yet. Maybe open up a savings account that has $300 in it, and to learn how to do it, like say, hey, you know what? This account always needs to be at 300. Anytime I take money out of it, I got to put it back in right away. So here, that's kind of a strategy maybe to learn how to manage that account needs to continue to be at that balance. You know what I mean? So a credit card, they're lending you money, and you need to return that money that they just lent you.
Yeah, so I guess I like that. It's not going to be a daily thing though, but I guess I'm looking more. I mean, 5 minutes every day. If I knew like nothing about credit cards.
Okay, I mean, wait. You just answered it yourself. What are we doing here today? What about spending 5 minutes a day listening to someone that has knowledge, sharing their experience? Whether that's a friend, whether that's a family member, whatever positive, negative experience. 5 minutes a day, totally free.
Find like a podcast about it.
It can be podcast. It can be sitting down with dad. It can be sitting down with the kid, whatever.
I mean, there's a ton of education out there that, like, people can read about. I mean, you can. I mean, I just went to Experian.com and there's credit card and learned the basics before you even apply. So just learning something, that could be something that they do daily.
Yeah, I guess the easiest way to learn about credit cards.
Seeing what's available in your country. I mean, just doing a simple Google search and seeing what's out there and available to you would be a huge benefit as well, because every country is going to be a little different, right? And then you can go and you can research each different card, how to apply for it, what you need to be able to have to apply for it, what are the benefits of it, what are the rates, what are the terms. And then I think you take that and you go and ask somebody that is knowledgeable with it, that has used it, and say, hey, how do you use this successfully so I don't get into an issue with, and have problems with these things, right? Because I think the biggest hurdle that you're running into here is like the intercontinental communities and cultures and stuff that are out there that, not everywhere has credit cards. Okay, so if you don't have a credit card, then this really doesn't apply to you. If you do have a credit card, then if you do have access to potentially use credit cards, this 100% does apply to you, and it may decide whether you want to use them or not.
Yeah, I think that's a solid place, because if you know nothing about credit cards, I think learning what credit cards are available and maybe like research the perks, and I mean we should probably go over APR too. But yeah, I mean just learning and researching what's available in your country, I think that's a good idea. So let's do so 5 minutes every day. Let's research a new credit card available to you. And check like the AP and check APY, and what else is the most important things about a specific credit card?
Eligibility, because we don't want to send people down a path where they're applying for stuff and getting shot down. Like that's not cool.
I don't want anyone applying. Don't apply for anything from this show. Just learn. And the eligibility is a good point, because when you're learning, you may see a card that's fucking sexy and you want it, and it's got all these perks like Alex's 10% back. And so learning the eligibility is important, because if you don't, or you're not eligible, it'll teach you what you need to do to get there to be eligible.
Right.
All right. So I'm going to say find a new credit card every day and check the APY, eligibility, and the rewards.
Love it.
Don't apply. That's your own choice later. You can go hit up one of these guests. If you're curious, go talk to Paul, Ty, or Alex and ask them about that card specifically, yada, yada. Don't apply without talking to someone that knows more. But I think for 5 minutes, you can just wake up in the morning and just go find a new card available in your country, your bank, your city, wherever. Find a new credit union or something small and just learn about that card. How does that sound?
Yep.
Awesome.
Good.
All right. I support that. It's simple, it's easy, but it'll definitely teach you some things that are available. Cool. Good. Yeah, I like that. That's smart. Little research, little learning about credit cards. And if you want to learn about credit and how it works, we have other episodes, or hit up one of these guests right here. We dropped all their info. But at that point, we have run really long like I thought we would. And so we're going to have to wrap up the show. Thank everyone. Thank you guys for coming out. I'm going to put you backstage real quick. Whew. All right, we did it. We made it. Hopefully you guys all learned a little bit about credit cards. Thank you so much for watching Millionaires Are Made. This episode was on financial health and credit cards. We had 3 awesome guests. We learned a lot. If you have any questions about credit card, which I'm sure tons of people do our daily challenge, learn about a new credit card available to you, as well as hit up all of our guests and talk to them, because they know way more about credit cards